If you never reach your full potential, would you still feel good enough for you? If you don't achieve those goals, those desires, those things that you want to create and manifest in your life, if you don't get those things, would you still be able to love yourself, to accept yourself, to feel good about yourself and your life? Or is it all dependent on achieving those things, having those things, those outcomes, those external goals, people liking you? Is it all dependent on having those things fulfill you and make you feel good about yourself? Like, how much of your self-worth is tied up to external event, external goal, external outcome, things needing to be a certain way for you to finally feel good about yourself, for you to finally value yourself, for you to finally feel like I made it? And if it's a lot, it's no wonder why we're anxious, why you feel like you're not good enough, why you feel like you're behind, why there's so much pressure and anxiety and insecurity. Because we make it so easy for us to feel insane, to feel like we're not good enough, to feel like I need more to reach my potential, because we attach and we give so much power to our external goal, to external things, to external material things, that we feel like it's almost like we're giving certain part of us and our confidence attached to those things. Like, when I get that thing, then I get fulfilled, right? But really what we end up with is a constant chase, it's constant neediness, it's constantly feeling like I need more, I need something, someone, someplace to make me feel whole, to make me feel good about myself. And so what we have to realize is that feeling good about yourself, self-esteem, improving your confidence becomes so much easier when you're able to simply accept who you are now, your life as it is now. Self-love through self-acceptance. And I know that it's so much easier to say it than being done, because we resist what is. If what you want is out of reach, it's not here yet, and you're thriving and you're working hard to get those things because you feel like of what it's going to bring you, right? It can be very difficult to accept your situation, because I know when I was working and learning self-acceptance and so on, I was working on my own insecurities, I was working on my own self-esteem and so on. It was very difficult to accept my life as it was, because I felt like if I accept it, it's like I give up. It's like I'm never gonna get there. It's like I'm gonna be freaking stuck here, and I didn't like the situation I was in. I didn't like the way I was feeling. So why the fuck would I be accepting it, right? It did not make sense. But this is what the paradox is that the more you resist what is, the more it persists. And it's hard sometimes to think according to this, but you really have to understand that it becomes so much easier to feel free, to feel confident, to feel content in the journey, in the process of getting there and so on, because it's not about giving up, it's not about not wanting those things, it's simply about being like, how can I finally be more at peace about who I am? How can I finally let myself be authentic, be confident, be me, instead of constantly being under pressure, instead of constantly needing something, sometimes, someplace to make me finally feel freaking good about myself? When you understand that dynamic and that self-love and self-confidence is available now, if you simply allow that possibility to be expressed in your mind, in your perception, in your thoughts, self-love is always available now if you simply choose to accept what is, who you are, and where you are, without all the judgment, without all the projection, without all those beliefs. And this is something I needed to learn a lot in my life. I had a very bad relationship with my body. I was very self-conscious. I was very, full of shyness and timidity and insecurity because of my height and so on, right? And so I didn't accept my body. I didn't love my body. I didn't, there was a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, simply because there was no acceptance. And if there's no acceptance, how can you love yourself? And if you don't love yourself, then how can you feel good about yourself? How can there be any form of self-esteem, right? And you can see how this can materialize in so many conditions, habit patterns, coping mechanism. But ironically, is the moment I started to accept myself and to accept my height and accept my body, it became so much easier. When I started my business, my coaching business, at the beginning, I needed to take a side job just to get more money to support the venture and so on, right? And so I started teaching English on the side. But you see, I was very embarrassed. I was very insecure. I didn't want people to know. I didn't want people to find out, because I felt like I should need that job. I should be already successful. I should be already making money. I should already be there, kind of thing, right? And so not only I had a lot of pressure about trying to become full-time and make money and make it in my business, right? But I also was carrying that burden, that heaviness, embarrassment, and hiding all those things because I wasn't able to accept that it's okay. It's part of the process. I am where I am, and I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm getting there every single day. The moment I started to simply accept that that side job it's actually okay. It's teaching me a lot. It's bringing all those benefits. It's not what I ultimately desire and so on, but I can simply accept, or I can choose to resent it. And the moment I started to accept it, it became so much easier, because not only I didn't need to hide it anymore, I didn't need to pretend anymore, I didn't need to carry that unnecessary load of embarrassment and shame and secrecy, right? But I become more free. And I guarantee you that I'm convinced that that lesson, freeing myself from that embarrassment, that projection, and so on, is actually one of the main reasons that allowed me to become full-time and to grow my business and to become more. And so this is something I see a lot in my clients, right? When they resist certain things, when they're in certain situations, when they have a lot of stress, they're burning out, they're self-conscious, there's a lot of embarrassment and fear and so on. Somehow, somewhere, they're resisting somewhere. It can be a resistance internally, it can be toward the situation or certain things, right? But the thing is this: the more you resist your situation or who you are, what is, or certain things like that, the more it's going to affect your confidence, your self-esteem, the more it's going to affect your life, because confidence, self-esteem is the elixir of success. When you feel confident, when you feel good about yourself, it's so much easier to take action, to show up yourself, it's so much easier, and you also show up in a world with a very different energy, and so you invite different things in your life. But when you're constantly insecure, when you're constantly trying to get approval and get things to make you feel good and so on, when you're constantly needy, you get very different outcomes. So we drive ourselves insane because of all the attachments we give to external things and those goals, and what we project on those goals, and how we feel like it's finally gonna make me feel whole, complete, good about myself. If you're in this situation, here's my invitation for you. Notice, what is it that I'm resisting the most in my life? What is it that I'm not accepting about myself or my life? What is it that I'm trying to hide? What is it that I don't want other people to know? If you can simply start to bring reflection and awareness there, and you can work your way towards simply finding peace about those things and whatever comes up for you, and accepting certain situation, accepting the journey and the process and where you are right now, without the notion of I'm giving up, or I'm not gonna get there, or all these self-pity things, but simply accepting that accepting my situation is an act of self-love, not an act of giving up. So I'm not giving up anything, I'm simply making the journey so much more enjoyable, but also ironically, I'm making the journey so much easier and so much faster. So one of the best ways you can boost self-love and self-esteem is through self-acceptance. Because ultimately, when you accept what is, there's nothing to resist, there's nothing to fight, there's nothing to really, hide, or there's not all that resistance, and all that energy doesn't go toward that resistance and those thoughts and those emotions. It means it gives you peace, but it also gives you so much more energy to create something new in your life, because the moment you change your energy is when you change your life. So let me know what you think down in the comment, guys. I hope this video makes sense, because this is such an important topic. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Be well.